Hey folks, Rich here at RCINFORMER. Today I have a quick unboxing video to show you all the parts and everything included here with the new 1400mm J3 Cub. This is version 3 of their Cub. Nice size airplane, guys, and it comes with the floats. Now I think there's a non-float version, as you can see here on the side of the box, but this one comes with the floats, guys, and the detail on this is awesome. And we're not really looking at the standard yellow paint job. They did a nice red and white. And this thing will stand out really nicely against the water and against backdrops. Right here, quick look at the specs here, guys. 1400mm wingspan, which is a 55-inch wingspan overall. So nice size, 35 inches long, 850 kV brushless outrunner, 40 amp speed controller, 4 servos, all pre-installed, guys, and ready to go. This thing will just screw together. I'll check the CG as we fly it. We'll talk about it in some of the flight videos. And 11x7 two-bladed prop, and of course this thing runs on a 3-cell. It's amazing what we're getting out of 3-cell 2200 packs nowadays and the performance we get. Cubs are not super hot performers, so they don't really need a ton of power, but this one actually performs quite well. And you can see here it's got a water rudder on it built in. The detail is awesome. Just looking at this thing at the side of the box, the engine detail alone is killer. I mean, they've really gone into some serious detail with this airplane. Scale details and so forth. And you can see the layout there of all the parts, and I'll put these all out there and we'll get a real nice close look at everything in this unboxing video. Now, just taking a look, guys, with the box top off, you can see right away just standard FMS quality all the way around. Boxed real nicely, parts here packaged, floats are there, your struts and everything for your landing gear, main wing spar, wings down in there, all packaged really nicely. Same floats that they're using on the Super Easy and now the new Kingfisher. So they're using standard floats all the way around, although the Kingfisher does not need a water rudder because it has a separate rudder that comes down from the tail. But anyway, guys, nicely packaged. So let's get this thing out of the box. We'll lay out all the parts and get a closer look at them in detail. Here's the layout of all the parts that came out of the box, and man, I cannot wait to get this one together. This one is cool, guys. I'm not a huge Cub fan because I like a more high-performance airplane, but the level of detail and the fit and finish on this airplane is tremendous. Just the windows and cockpit detailing alone. Looks like they got a new pilot in there too, which is a nice thing to have, a new pilot instead of the same old guy flying everything. The engine detail down here is awesome, and we'll look at that nice and close. But the fit and finish of this airplane looks tremendous. Totally glueless design again, guys. FMS has made it so easy to get this thing out of the box and really just screw it together. Wings have about 4 screws, tail has 3 or 4 screws. You have several screws and set screws to get your floats together, but once they're together, they go on with just a couple of screws. So wing struts are non-structural and just kind of snap in place. So, but anyway, you can start down here, guys, right here with the fuselage, motors installed, speed controllers installed, tail servos are installed, ready to go, horizontal stabilizer and elevator, ready to just be bolted on, guys, and it has some nice plastic fittings that make it a real precise fit. Props right here, main wings are here, with your aileron servos are already mounted in place and ready to go. Decals, obviously the whole thing's painted. Everything's hinged nicely. Your main wing struts, again, guys, those just pop into place. They're non-structural. Same thing, there's some intermediate struts that connect at the midpoint there. Again, all non-structural. Your floats here with your rudder servo and rudder, with your rudder installed, everything's really ready to go there. Really nice detail. I really like the floats. I'll show you those in detail too. And then here's your float struts and parts bag, and of course the instruction manual, guys. Now the parts bag also has the landing gear in it, so we'll get into that into a little more detail when I get it out of the bag, so you'll see how nice those are. But sweet airplane, guys. Anyway, let's take a look at each part in much closer detail. The first part up to show you guys is the main fuselage, and you can see what a nice job they did with this thing. Look at the windows, guys, and it's not a Lexan, guys. They did a plastic mold of this whole thing. Same thing on top, nice window up above, and it really gives a look, and you can see the instrument detail in there and the pilot. They really gave this a really good look and a really good scale look by putting in a nice big plastic window like that all the way around, nice and clear. Look at this engine detail. I mean, that's just out of this world. Again, guys, I'm not a real Cub fan. I've never been a Cub flyer, but wow, look at that. They got all the louvers and everything, and the engine scoops and exhaust pipes and everything right all the way around. Look how scale that is. And still left holes for cooling to get everything cooling off in there. Nice hex drive for your prop and spinner, prop and prop nut to go on there. And you can see through the ESC where cooling, everything goes through there and cools off and comes out. But really nice, guys, all the way around. Now, one thing to show you here on the underside, you can see here where the the speed controller goes, and I pop this hatch off, and this is where the cooling comes out, because it's kind of hard to unlatch. It's meant to be really tight, so I needed a screwdriver just to kind of pop it off. It's not really, at least mine wasn't easy enough that I couldn't do with just my finger, but I mean, you really don't need to get into the ESC for anything anyway. But just to show you that latch mechanism and how this whole thing goes in place, and how, see how tight that thing pops in place, and you need, like I said, a screwdriver to get under there, but that keeps it all in place. Since we're on the underside here, guys, you can see down in here, hopefully you can see the metal threads down in there where your landing gear attaches, landing gear attachment points here for your wheels, float attachment points here, and all metal threads and machine screws to go in there. So really sweet, guys. And then under here's the battery compartment hatch. You usually don't see the battery underneath, but obviously they're changing it around. They're using obviously here an XT60 connector, I guess. Probably like to see this as a EC3, maybe, or a Dean's. These are good connectors, just my batteries don't have these, or you need an adapter for it. But see, all your wires here, guys, are ready to go for your receiver and everything to go right in here. But you can see how nice this FMS quality is, just fantastic, guys. Snaps in with a rare earth magnet, just kind of out of this world. As we go along the top side here, you can see the wings. Wing spar here, guys, goes right through that hole. The wing spar is right there between those wings. It kind of fell between the cracks there. But your plug in here for your ailerons ready to go. Nice plastic fittings all the way around, guys, for that wing to slide right in. And then 2 screws on each wing, guys, to get your wing in place. So really slick how that's designed. As we move along to the tail here, guys, you can see your elevator in there. It's a FMS 91 in there. Just mounted and ready to go. Your tail wheel here, this plugs right into your rudder, because your rudder just slides right on there and locks into place. But this is one of the things I want to talk about, is the pads here, guys, for mounting your horizontal stabilizer and elevator. That literally, plastic to plastic, plugs right in, and it has no movement. Rudder goes in and it just slides right into place, and a single screw there. So they're really doing a heck of a job, guys, in making this like as glueless of a design and just snap together fit as can be. So anyway, one of these is for the rudder. I should say one of these is for the elevator. So as we get them on there, we'll kind of see which one goes where. But real nice tail wheel, guys. Not a bad idea to put some foam tack on that E-ring. See how it slides a little bit. Put a little foam tack there to keep the E-ring in place so the E-ring doesn't pop off and you lose your tail wheel. So foam tack is the best stuff to use, guys. So I use it for all E-rings on gear. So keeps it in place nicely. But moving along here, guys, really sweet detail. I just can't get over the exhaust stacks. There's your carburetor filter and everything, it looks like, and just really sweet detail overall. I got to give this fuselage like a AAA plus, guys. They've just done some tremendous work on this airplane. Here's a quick look at the horizontal stabilizer, elevator, vertical stabilizer, and rudder package that goes on this plane. It's really nice, guys, how they designed this thing. It's very scale. It's all foam hinges, but you can see it kind of shine down in there a little bit. They're all laminated with a laminate, so it's really, really tough. Also have a carbon spar running down the center, and that's on the bottom of the airplane, so it's rigid enough. Again, Cubs are not yank and bank airplanes. They're just smooth flying, kind of comfortable, leisurely flying airplanes, so it's not really meant for G's or anything like that. But there are connections here and here for the struts that go up to the side of the fuselage and rudder and stuff, and that just adds a whole ton of scale detail. Now, interconnecting these 2 elevator halves, they have a carbon spar. Now I'm looking down in there, and I'm probably going to drop a little CA, thin foam safe CA, down in that to kind of lock that tubular spar in place, and that will help eliminate any variation you might get between the 2 halves. But they look like they're linked together pretty good with this nice plastic horn and doubler that connects the both sides together. Super nice plastic channel fitting here, and this plastic piece locks in perfectly in place with the tail of the fuselage. So real nice fitting, real nice slide-on fitting here for the vertical stabilizer. You can see how nicely that FMS is making some of the nicest plastic parts nowadays, and how everything interlocks and plugs in together. Here's the combination doubler, plastic horn, and fitting for your tail wheel that just pops right into place there. It all slides. This elevator, what happens is the elevator goes on, horizontal stabilizer pops onto the tail, just like you see it down there. Then the rudder goes on, and the vertical stabilizer goes on, slides in place. That little latch down there, or that little pin off the tail wheel, plugs right into there, and uses a single screw to hold it in place. But that's how nice. And then one screw goes in here to hold the whole thing in place. So it's all a nice plug and play design. And just to kind of show you how this all fits, sort of, again, the horizontal stabilizer goes onto the fuselage down there. And then this thing, you see how nicely this thing fits in. This is why FMS is ruling, because everything plugs in and slides into place. And once that's locked in, that rudder pin goes, or tail wheel pin goes in there. You put one screw in there and the entire tail is on. So really nice design, epic how well this thing fits together. Hinged again, guys, with a foam hinge, but it is laminated, guys. So it's got that shiny material down in it, so you have all laminated hinges all the way around. But overall, guys, super nice empennage on this airplane. Here's a look at the mostly assembled wing panel, guys. You can see rods, horns, linkages already installed. I went ahead and I actually snapped the wing struts in place. It took me like just a few seconds to pop them in place. They're pretty much non-structural. You can see down here how they snap into place. It's just a pop into place. You just push them in, and they go in. You can see even the supporting or the intermediate struts pop right into place for a really nice. Look at that scale detail. It just really looks sharp to see a plane with all those scale struts in place. And again, they're mostly non-functional. The main spar here really takes up all the load. They even went as far to put a little gas cap on the little plastic part. Real nice, guys, overall. Your wing fittings right here for your two screws that you can see those tabs that just insert in there. Again, nice fit and finish. Here's your aileron line ready to be plugged in. You can see your fiberglass spar tube to accept your carbon spar, and I believe so. Yep, it is a carbon spar, and that fits right in there, and that's where really most of your structure for your wing comes in place. But you can see they have nice detail all the way around, guys. You can see your ribs and so forth. Again, foam hinge with the shiny laminate. You can see in there, guys, all again laminated for strength, guys, on those hinges, and all the way around, and real nice detail or decal application, I should say. So this is going to be sweet, guys, and it's going to go together fast. So just really super nice wing panel on this airplane. The next part up to show you guys is the floats. You see I went ahead and took a couple minutes and just assembled them. They really go together with just 8 set screws. You can see 2 in each side right there, 2 in there, 2 in here, and 2 in here. And you can see those just go together real easy. Here's your outlet here for your water rudder line. Your water rudder servo is pre-installed inside here already and ready to go. You just run that up through the center, and you just make the plug-in so you have your water rudder. But one of the things I want to show you is how nicely this plugs in. Again, guys, these are the same floats they're using on the Kingfisher and the Super Easy with a few improvements to it. But you can see how this just literally pops in, and you have traditional straps that are included in that parts bag right there. Traditional straps that hold these in place right here and here. And you can see once you get those straps on and off, you can see how easy that this thing is to disassemble. And I'm actually just going to pull it off here on camera so you can see what a nice fit this thing is. I'll put the fuselage down here for a second, and you guys can see that's it, guys. That's how these things go on, and they assemble again with just 8 set screws. So really nice. One of the improvements is they've added this splash strip here to keep water from getting on the airplane, and actually from getting actually in the cockpit for the cockpit view. So, but you can see they've reinforced the underside main center keel with a little bit of plastic. They've improved the overall fit and finish of the floats on this airplane. And again, guys, real nice big water rudder back here with pre-installed servo. And the line's already wired, ready to go. They put some waterproof caulking on here. It's a sort of a rubbery material just to keep water out of here. And one of the nice features I think I like about the way they design these things is if you need to transport these floats and take them off the airplane easier, you can unscrew your set screws here, which actually I don't really do often. I usually leave them together. But if you're short on space and you need to kind of fold these down without doing a complete like disassembly and uninstall, you can just loosen those screws, and then you can just lower these 2 pieces. So these main struts just flatten up. So you have a nice flat set. Obviously it's easy to take these things apart, but if you just want to flatten them down and save some space and transport them, like at Jonal, where I'm going to be having this plane there to demo, I'm probably going to take these off and flatten them down just the way you see them. Just makes them a little easier to transport. But overall, guys, really nice floats on the Cub here. The last items up to show you guys really are the parts bag, where the main landing gear wheels and struts and things are. So I'll pull kind of one thing out at a time. These are your elevator or horizontal stabilizer struts. You can see they're They're kind of functional, non-functional, I guess. They do supply some support, but they just interconnect your horizontal stabilizer with the fuselage. Just a really nice scale detail to have on the airplane. I'll throw those down there, and we'll take a look at the next item here. A couple of screws. Those are probably for the wings or for the tail, I'm guessing. And then as we get down here, here's your straps for the landing gear that we just talked about, and an extension probably for the rudder to get your, actually it's a Y harness to wire in your rudder servo along with your water rudder servo. So that's kind of what that's for. You can actually plug them in separate channels too, so you can trim that water rudder if you want to, but you can see your nice red straps. They're nicely painted, and screws for your landing gear to match to everything. And then as we look in here, a couple more screws, guys. Looks like screws for the wings. And this looks like the spinner adapter, and that's the prop nut. They have a kind of a scale-looking prop nut to go on this thing. Really nice. That's sort of a new design from FMS. They usually have the square ones. And I think there was a square one in the photo on the box, but they rounded it off to make it really scale-looking. So excellent job there, and that's one of the things I like about FMS. They're constantly raising the bar. They're constantly improving the quality of their airplanes instead of just kind of keeping them status quo and making them just better and better. Also here, guys, mixed in here is an antenna for the top. That probably glues, actually, you know what? That actually snaps in or glues in to the top of the window. There was a little channel up there, and these are just your aileron rods and clevises. So with a little bit of silicone tubing there to keep them in place. And then here's the landing gear, guys. Super, super scale gear. Look at that. Right on there, the hubcaps say CUB. Wheels are a little small. I'm guessing they're about 2 inches or so if I'm looking at that right. So about a 2-inch wheel. So you got to have some pretty nice grass to fly them off of, but they're a very, very scale wheel. And this is sort of like a hard rubbery kind of foam here, guys. But really nice CUB hubcap on there. You can see everything attached really nicely here. And this is all structural, guys. So this all goes together with springs, just like the standard, just like the full-scale CUB goes. Let me see if I can unwrap this. It just got twisted around a little bit. And then this whole system pretty much goes together like this. So these are actually a structural spring for suspension. So, but really nice scale, guys, all the way around. I really like the way that they design this, and it's very scale. And then, of course, these are your hinge points right here that screw in to allow the strut here to move, to flex up and down with the spring under the shock of landing. So obviously you don't want to be pounding this airplane into the ground, but really nice landing gear system, guys, overall for the CUB. Just a nice job they did on these. Last but not least, guys, is the instruction manual. The instruction manual has got way thicker. You can see how big this thing is, but not because this is a hard plane to put together, but now they're coming in all different languages, guys. Chinese, French, German. It looks like there's just tons of, so if you look at this thing, the actual instruction manual actually stops for English right here, so just a little part of the way through it. So, but anyway, fairly thorough, guys, but very easy to put this thing together, just as we talked about, guys. All the parts here are laid out just like we talked about, and all the specifications right there. Again, only needs a 3-cell battery, guys, to run this thing. You can see they talk about throwing the landing gear on real easy with some screws, guys. Looks like 4 screws and the whole system is on there. Spring-loaded suspension and everything. And then putting your struts on, they show you how easy those just pop in place. You got a couple screws on the inside, the rest of them just sort of snap in place. And then you can see here your wing plug-ins with your main spar, like we talked about, putting your 2 screws in for your wings, popping in your other intermediate struts, getting your elevator in place with 2 screws. And let's see, let me see if I can get around here to the next page. Real simple stuff, guys. Slide your rudder on just like I talked about with a single screw, horizontal, vertical stabilizer to get that thing in place. 1 screw down there for your tail wheel, you can see. And then putting your rudder linkage on, putting your struts, those are metal struts we were talking about, to secure your horizontal stabilizer in place. The antenna that goes on top, just like we talked about, your prop and your new spinner nut. Very scale spinner nut, I'm impressed, that goes on there. And then to the next page here, we'll see the floats that went together. Real easy, guys. Again, 8 screws get that thing together. And then they show you your straps that go on and your connection for your water rudder, if you can use your water rudder. And then as we get over here, you see your battery goes underneath. First inverted battery installation I've seen on an FMS plane. So we'll see how that goes on and how that get in there. And I'll probably talk about that during the video reviews and stuff. They do talk about rates and so forth. I'll see how that goes together as we get the airplane going, and of course the center of gravity at about 25% or so, 20%. We'll see how that goes. But anyway, guys, very simple instruction manual. There was an addendum here, I guess, for snapping the struts on. They only go on one way, and there's a way they go in 90 degrees, so they kind of, I guess, explain that in further detail. So be careful when you line them up. Just make sure they go in right, but they just snap in place. But overall, guys, really sweet Piper Cub, guys. This is just probably one of the nicer ones on the market. Beautiful scale detail. Flat on wheels, flat off the water, just fantastic. So we'll try and get this out to Joe Nall, guys, and some of the other events. So be looking for it where you see me at RC Informer, and we'll have this out there demoing for everybody. Stay tuned for the video. We'll have it out soon. This is awesome, guys. FMS quality is going through the roof. So real impressed with this. Anyway, guys, thanks for checking out RC Informer. And as always, guys, we'll see you next time.